What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check package, the fourth stimulus check update, as well as what's going on in the world today. Speaking of what's going on in the world today, the world's former richest man ever, Bill Gates, just announced he's getting divorced. That's right, Bill Gates says on Twitter, after a great deal of thought and work on our relationship, we have made the decision to end our marriage. We ask for space and privacy for our family as we begin to navigate this new life after 27 years of marriage and 3 incredible children. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has suspended all of Florida's remaining COVID-19 restrictions. He says it's, quote, the evidence-based thing to do while citing the availability of vaccines. The Florida governor declared the suspension of restrictions at a press conference where he signed a bill passed by the legislature last week that allows the governor to overrule local emergency orders starting July 1st. He also signed a separate executive order removing all local orders July 1st, but said his executive order outlawing COVID-19 emergency orders would immediately serve to bridge the gap between now and July 1st. He says, quote, I think folks that are saying that they need to be policing people at this point, if you're saying that, you really are saying you don't believe in the vaccines. You don't believe in the data, and you don't believe in the science. Republican Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida has been one of the most outspoken vocal governors as of lately, as he passed a executive order to ban vaccine passports, and he's also looking to sign a new law into order that will punish social media companies such as Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter if they use cancel culture on political figures such as former President Donald Trump to prevent these social media companies in the future from being able to ban whoever they like and prevent their freedom of speech. President Biden has put a new person in charge and overseeing these student loans of America, which could lead to more student loan forgiveness. Former Consumer Finance Protection Bureau Director Richard Cordroy will serve as the head of the Education Department's Student Loan Office. He says, quote, education has made all the difference in life for my family and me, and it has been the foundation of progress in this country for generations. But too many students find that access to affordable, good quality higher education remains far out of reach. Create more pathways for students to graduate and get ahead, and not to be burdened by insurmountable debt. This could pave the way to President Biden's long-awaited mass student loan forgiveness of at least $10,000, as President Biden has said he's willing to do $10,000 of student loan forgiveness. And the most recent update from the White House says that they have the education secretary, who is Miguel Cardona, looking into the legalities of whether or not they can do this through a presidential executive order. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Elizabeth Warren, among others, are pushing President Biden to do more than $10,000 of student loan forgiveness, which really would be less than half of probably 1 year's tuition for most colleges nowadays. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is pushing for President Biden to do at least $50,000 of student loan debt forgiveness. We have already seen 3 mini rounds of student loan debt forgiveness since President Biden came into office. First round was $1 billion for students that were defrauded by their college or their college closed on them. The second round was $1.3 billion for students with disabilities that meet certain criteria. And the third round was a pausing of student loan interest, payments, and garnishments for over 1 million new students. While we're waiting on the mass round, the $10,000 to $50,000 of student loan forgiveness for everybody, there could be a fourth mini round of student loan forgiveness coming. And that is because there is a new bill that aims to help active duty military service members. As you can see here, a new bipartisan bill proposed by Senators Maggie Hassan, which is a Democrat from New Hampshire, and Marco Rubio, who's a Republican from Florida, hopes to ease military service members' path towards student loan forgiveness. saying, quote, service members take enormous risks to protect our freedoms, and it is unacceptable that members of military can return home from active duty and not be any closer to receiving student loan forgiveness. This bipartisan bill is a common sense fix to help some of our students' most deserving public servants and to get out from the burden of student loan debt more quickly. The Recognizing Military Service Act, officially introduced on Thursday, aims to help military borrowers leverage the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program by counting military student loan deferment or forbearance during deployment as qualifying payments so that service members who deploy have had their periods of service appropriately counted towards their student loan forgiveness. Now, the military one has not been passed yet, but if you think you may qualify for those first 3 rounds of student loan forgiveness, let me show you how to apply. First, just go to Google, type in student loan forgiveness, and find the website studentaid.gov, and you'll go to directly to the student loan forgiveness page, which, as you can see here, then you can go from here and to basically go through the different steps to see if you qualify and to basically go from there. If you're looking forward to the mass amounts of student loan forgiveness, to $10,000 to $50,000, I will keep you updated here on this channel as new information comes out. Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker and leader of the Democrats in the House, just slammed the Republican leader of the House, Kevin McCarthy, for, quote, trying to take credit for the third stimulus check package provisions and stimulus relief by promoting a package that he or not a single Republican even voted for. As you can see here, Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Monday seized upon a social media post from House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Republican from California, promoting a restaurant aid program created by the third stimulus check package, which Republicans unanimously opposed before President Biden signed it into law in March. Quote, Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy called the American Rescue Plan socialist, claimed it would turn the U.S. into Venezuela, and convinced every member of his caucus to vote against it. He even warned the American people help is not on the way, even though it did pass and we did get those third stimulus checks out, among all the other provisions in that third package, one of which was the America Rescue Plan for restaurants. She says that now he's touting the American Rescue Plan's Restaurant Revitalization Fund to brag about bringing home the bacon, Nancy Pelosi's office said in a statement. In a Facebook post, Kevin McCarthy provided a link to the Small Business Administration's website where restaurants can apply for funding equal to their pandemic-related monetary losses. Quote, applications for the SBA's Restaurants Revitalization Fund opened this Monday, and restaurants are eligible for up to $10 million per business or no more than $5 million per location. Funding recipients don't have to pay back the amount as long as the money is used towards payroll, mortgage payments, maintenance, construction of our outdoor seating, or other eligible expenses by March 11th, 2023. So if you own a restaurant, you should probably Google that and apply for it. It's similar to the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, which is for all businesses, and you get that by you have to have 1099 income. You have to have a business that was open by before a certain point of last year. It can't be a brand new business open this year. And you basically call up your local bank and tell them you want to apply for a PPP loan, a Paycheck Protection Program loan. As long as you use the loan money on employees, which you yourself count as an employee, or other deductible expenses like mortgages and the mortgage rent and different employee expenses, then you can basically get the loan forgiven. And it's basically a stimulus check to you or your business. If you have just a side business, like you sell products on Amazon, you drive for Uber or Lyft, or maybe you're a 1099 employee in any walk of life, or you're a gig worker, then you probably qualify for a Paycheck Protection Program. There's been multiple rounds of it passed from these stimulus packages, but it has to be opened last year. You can't have a brand new business that was opened in 2021 to get it. Easiest way to see if you apply, if you qualify, is to call up your local bank and tell them you want to see if you're eligible for a paycheck protection program. If so, they'll do the paperwork with them and ask them how to get the loan forgiven and what steps you'll need to do. Because again, once it's forgiven, it's completely free money that has come from multiple stimulus packages that have already been passed. As talks of a fourth and a fifth or monthly recurring stimulus checks heat up, a new study finds that sending fourth and fifth stimulus checks could keep 12 million Americans out of poverty. Remember, the third stimulus check, which was passed by the Democrats and likely will be the same scenario for the next stimulus check, as the Democrats will likely pass that bill through the reconciliation process, which means they'll pass it completely on their own without any Republican support by using the reconciliation process, which means they only need 50 votes in the Senate, 50 or 51 votes, and the Democrats can do that completely on their own. That is how the third stimulus check package was passed, by the way. The reason these reports say they can bring so many millions out of poverty is because remember, the third stimulus check was the largest yet to date, $1,400 for adults, children, and adult dependents. So a family of four got $5,600. A family of six would have gotten $8,400. So if we could see another round of fourth and fifth stimulus checks, just imagine another $5,000 to $8,000 per family for a family of four, a family of six. That could really do some damage towards your debt and getting housing stabilized and food stabilized and basically getting your financial situation stabilized. Now, of course, if you just are a single person, you're obviously only going to get a single check. But the Biden administration seems to really be pushing for help for families. And again, I don't make the laws. I just report to you guys what's going on. But they're really pushing for more and more support for families and support for children. As in the third stimulus check package, not only was the $1,400 stimulus checks for everybody, as long as you had a social security number and made below the income requirements, but as long as you have a social security number, you made below the income requirements as well. And if you have children, you now will be receiving an additional $3,000 for the child tax credits for children over the age of 6 and $3,600 for children under the age of 6. And really, they're going to start paying this out in monthly stimulus checks starting in July of $250 to $300 per month. A very likely provision in the next package, the fourth stimulus check package, is they're very likely going to extend that to at least the year 2025, is what President Biden said in his most recent speech, although many Democrats are pushing him to make it permanent. So that would mean that monthly stimulus checks for children and the parent who claims them as a dependent would get these stimulus checks going forward year after year after year until they turn 18. Remember, if you're like a I've seen a lot of questions about what about if I'm a grandparent and I'm raising the children. If you claim them as a dependent on a tax return, that is how they decide who will get the money. Remember, the money doesn't go to the children and they don't pay a 2-year-old or a 7-year-old. They pay the person who claims them as a dependent. Exactly the same way the third stimulus check was for children and adult dependents or college students as well. There was $1,400 earmarked for adult dependents, but again, it went to the person who claims them as a dependent on a tax return. So just keep that in mind. So if you're a split couple or if you're a grandparent that maybe takes care of children, whoever will get the monthly stimulus checks or the $3,000 to $3,600 going forward will be the person who claims them as a dependent on the most recent tax return. If you want to change that, well, file a new tax return or maybe even an amended tax return as soon as possible if you want to change who the money to the dependent or to the person who claims them as a dependent goes to. Now, just so some people don't get confused, because I see this question in the comments a lot too, the four stimulus checks only for children? And no, that's not the case. When we're talking about two different things here. One, there's already monthly stimulus checks that are passed and are going to be going out soon in July. That's the child tax credits. Okay. That's something completely different from the fourth stimulus check. I know that we have phrases and stuff for this, but the child tax credits is a kind of child support from the government. Okay, they're going to pay it out in monthly stimulus checks starting in July. But there's also an adult tax credit as well. I have a full video for you down below on how to qualify for it in the description of this video. If you're on a mobile phone, you may need to click the down arrow next to the title of this video to open up the description. So there's a child tax credit and an adult tax credit. The adult tax credit can actually be up to $6,600. So it's pretty awesome as well. But put those both aside, those are separate than the stimulus checks. The third stimulus check was separate than that. The second stimulus check. Easiest way to think about if you will receive the fourth stimulus check, if and when it gets passed, and however much it will be. I'll keep you up to date on all those things. But the easiest way to think about it is if you got the past stimulus checks, you'll likely get the fourth stimulus check. We don't know the qualifications yet, but we do know that the third stimulus check was completely set by the Democrats. Okay, they set the income limits, how much they would be. They set all the provisions all by themselves, and they didn't negotiate with Republicans over that because they passed it without Republican support, simply from the Democratic side. That's likely what will happen for the fourth stimulus check package as well, which has already been announced, called the American Families Plan. It will have multiple different stimulus items in there. What will be in there at the finalization, we don't know yet. We have all these Democratic senators and House representatives pushing to have stimulus checks in there, monthly stimulus checks, Social Security monthly stimulus check increases, SSI increases of $279 per month, $200 per month for Social Security. We could see these child tax credits increase. All those are separate programs. They're looking for Medicare increases, 2 years of free college, 2 years of free preschool. There's so many different things, but each one is different. Okay. When you talk about the fourth stimulus check, just think it's just like the past stimulus checks, but we don't know the amounts yet. We know that Democrats are pushing for monthly stimulus checks. But worst case scenario, it'll probably be negotiated down to a single stimulus check at worst case scenario of probably $1,400 to $2,000. Since the Democrats are going to likely pass this on their own, I don't think they would make it less than the last check, which they made more than any other check. So the way they're going is they're increasing things. They've increased the third stimulus check to the largest yet. They increased the child tax credits to the largest yet. So if you kind of see a pattern here, I doubt it would be less than at least $1,400. So a single stimulus check would probably be $1,400 to $2,000. But they're also pushing for the monthly stimulus checks of $1,000 to $2,000. So I'll keep you up to that. Most likely or I'll keep you up to date on that. Most likely the income requirements will be the same as the third stimulus check, or maybe the second most likely scenario would be they might lower the income cap a little bit. So right now it's at $75,000 for an individual, up to $80,000 you get a reduced check. $112,500 for a single filer head of household, and double the 75 for a married couple. 150 goes to 160, and you get a reduced check. That's the most likely scenario. The second most likely scenario, especially if they have monthly stimulus checks, they might lower that income cap down a little bit. Maybe say instead of 75,000 starting the reduction, maybe 70,000, maybe as low as 65 or something like that, if they were to do the monthly stimulus checks. And that's per person. If you're double that for a couple. If you're a single filer head of household, it's 112,500. So maybe they lower that down to 100,000. But again, the most likely scenario is it would be the same requirements as the third stimulus check, because the Democrats set those rules before. So the most likely scenario would be they would keep the same rules that they literally just set like a month ago or a month and a half ago when they passed the last package. So I'll keep you up to date on all these new stimulus provisions, student loan debt forgiveness, Social Security increases, Medicare increases, these monthly child tax credits and the adult tax credits, and all of the different items that could and or will be in this next stimulus package. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below and join our family of subscribers. It's completely free to do so. Don't miss any episodes because we cover different provisions in different episodes. New videos come out every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. After subscribing down below, you can click the bell icon that appears next to the subscribe button to all notifications to get reminder notifications for the first 3 videos of the day. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on the Amazon FBA platform. We have already had dozens of students that have replaced their 9-to-5 income simply by selling on the Amazon FBA platform, and I teach them how to do that. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.